In our video number 12, we are going to learn about the second approach to determine equilibrium output, the SI approach or savings investment approach. In the previous video, we learned the first approach called the AD-AS approach. There we learned that when an economy works at equilibrium, aggregate demand is equal to aggregate supply, or the other way round. When aggregate demand is equal to aggregate supply, the economy is said to be working at equilibrium. Now, what was aggregate demand? The components of aggregate demand were consumption and investment. Since aggregate supply is the value of total quantity of final goods and services produced in the economic territory of a country, it is also the national income. So AS can be written as Y. And what is income? Income is consumption plus saving. Now at equilibrium, we said aggregate demand is equal to aggregate supply, and so C plus I is equal to C plus S. This gives us, when you cancel this C common term, we get I is equal to S, or savings is equal to investment. Let us try to understand through the aggregate supply schedule. What was aggregate supply? Aggregate supply was consumption plus saving. So at zero level of income, there is some amount of consumption, and we called this autonomous consumption. Autonomous consumption would mean that we are consuming from what we had saved earlier, and so savings will be minus 20. When income increases to 20, consumption increases to 30, and so the savings would be minus 10. Why minus 10? Because there is some income over here. And so we are consuming the income plus a part of the savings. Now when the income increases to 40, consumption is equal to 40. Since consumption is equal to income, savings will be 0. Now when the income increases to 60, consumption also increases to 50, and now a part of the income is being saved, which is 10 units. So 50 plus 10 is equal to 60. Now when the income increases to 80, consumption is 60 and savings will now be 20. So what we observe over here is, as the income increases, consumption no doubt increases, but savings is also increasing. So at 100, consumption is 70 and savings has increased to 30. And when income is 120, consumption is 80 and savings has increased to 40. Please remember that we are considering the same income schedule what we had taken in the previous video when we learnt aggregate demand. Now what is the change in saving? There is no change in saving because income is 0, and change in income is also equal to dash. No change in income. Now as the income increases to 20, change in income is 20, to 40, change in income is 20, again to 60, change in income is 20, and so on and so forth. Then what about savings? Change in savings, when income was 10 minus 20, which is equal to 10. Then again here 10. So every level of income we find the same change in savings and the same change in income in this particular schedule. An investment, we consider the investment to be autonomous investment, and so it's going to be the same. What we saw in the graph, the income curve is parallel to x-axis. It remains the same whatever be the level of income. Now what we are trying to understand over here is the aggregate supply. Aggregate supply is the sum of consumption and saving. That's what we learned just now. And so let us see the sum of consumption and saving. Consumption is 20, savings is minus 20. So 20 plus minus 20 is 0. 30 minus 10, 20. 40 minus 0, 40. 50 minus 10, 50 plus 10, 60. 60 plus 20, 80. 70 plus 30, 100. 80 plus 40, 120. What did we observe over here is whatever is this AS, aggregate supply, it is the same as the income. 0, 0. 20, 20. 40, 40. 60, 60. 80, 80. 100, 100. 120, 120. That is the reason AS is nothing but Y. So AS is equal to Y. This is the reason we say whatever be the change in income, the components are same on the aggregate supply. Graphically, it is a 45-degree line. This is what explains the 45-degree line of the AS curve. So graphically, if you see, on the x-axis we have plotted income and output, and on the y-axis we have plotted aggregate supply. Now since the variables on the x-axis are equal to the variables on the y-axis, that's what we saw, y and here AS. So they are equal, and hence this AS curve will be a 45-degree line. Now savings curve starts below 0. Since the autonomous consumption says that we are consuming from our previous savings, savings will start below 0. It's a negative number. And hence it starts at minus 20. And it goes up as the income increases. Saving is also increasing. At this point, saving is 0. And this is the investment curve which is parallel to x-axis. At 60, we find that the savings curve intersects the investment curve, where S is equal to I. This line, if you extend further, we will find that it cuts the AD curve. This is the point where AD will be equal to AS. Here we have 60. So this is what explains graphically the aggregate supply curve and a point of equilibrium where savings is equal to investment at this point. This corresponds to equilibrium level where we find AD is equal to AS. Now let's try to understand it mathematically. Aggregate supply we learnt is a national income which is equal to consumption plus savings. And from our previous knowledge, we know consumption is equal to autonomous consumption plus MPC into Y. Therefore, income Y will be equal to, now substitute this over here in place of C and write C bar plus BY plus S. Or since we are trying to find out saving is equal to minus consumption minus autonomous consumption plus 1 minus BY. What was this? This was the saving function we learnt in the previous video. Now MPS or slope of the saving curve is equal to 1 minus B. This B is MPC. So 1 minus MPC. In other words, the slope of the saving curve is equal to delta S by delta Y. Now delta S or change in savings we saw was 10 and change in income was 20. So 10 by 20 gives us 0.5. Therefore S is equal to minus C bar plus this 1 minus B is 0.5. So 0.5 of the income. When income is 60, saving is equal to, put the values. Autonomous consumption is minus 20, minus 20 plus 0.5 into income is given as 60. So this will give us minus 20 plus 0.5 into 60 is 30. 30 minus 20 is 10. So saving is equal to 10. So what did we consider? Autonomous investment to be equal to 10. Isn't it? So S is also equal to 10 at equilibrium. Here S is equal to I. Hence equilibrium is struck. I hope this was helpful. Based on what we learned just now, let's try to solve a problem. The problem reads, the savings function of an economy is S is equal to minus 200 plus 0.25y. The economy is in equilibrium when income is equal to rupees 2000 crore. Calculate investment expenditure at equilibrium level of income and autonomous consumption. Now we are given income equal to 2000 crore and the saving function equal to minus 200 plus 0.25y. If you convert this into your formula, you get S is equal to minus C bar plus 1 minus B y. So putting the value of income over here, we get minus 200 plus 0.25 of 2000, you get rupees 300 crore. So at equilibrium, savings is equal to investment, which is equal to 300 crore. That is what we learnt at equilibrium. S is equal to I. Since we have found S, I is equal to 300 crore. Now the second part of the question asks for autonomous consumption. So we are given the saving function as minus 200 plus 0.25y. At y is equal to 0, we find that S is equal to only minus 200. In other words, you can also do it this way. Savings is equal to minus consumption, autonomous consumption. So this autonomous consumption is already given to us as minus 200. So C bar is 200 crore. That way also we can do. Now you can try one problem on your own. In an economy, S is equal to minus 100 plus 0.6y is a saving function. If investment expenditure is 1100, calculate equilibrium level of national income. And second, consumption expenditure at equilibrium level of national income. You may pause the video and try to solve the problem to get these answers. I hope you could solve that. Now the first part asks for income. At equilibrium, we know savings is equal to investment. We are given investment expenditure, which is equal to 1100. So at equilibrium, S is equal to I. So we can write S to be 1100. Put the values, find the value of Y, which will be 2000 rupees. Now the second part of the question is asking for consumption. From the saving function, we know this is minus C bar, autonomous consumption. That is, it is saving. So C bar is 100. What is B? B is MPC. Now how do you find MPC? We know from our previous classes that MPC plus MPS is equal to 1. Hence MPC is equal to 1 minus MPS, and MPS we know is 0.6. So 1 minus 0.6 is 0.4. Put the value B here into 2000 rupees is the income. Calculate it to find consumption equal to 900 rupees.